we're not sure. Like just when it comes to like like those stargates and portals, the same thing with this. There's so much that we can only assume and guess based on the evidence we have. But I found few of his conclusions very similar to what John Keel was writing in his book or said in general. So, for example, Long said that at this point, with the reports I received, I don't think it's natural. I think it's coming from somewhere else. I think it's more supernatural than anything. Furthermore, he said that he thought it's possible that people who witness Mothman are predisposed to see it. Certain people can see it and certain people cannot. I found that very interesting. Then the next thing he says is he went on to talk about how maybe the winged weirdo could be multiple beings, and that's also what I thought when I read most of the chapters. Some of the sightings clearly seem to be birds. Some sightings seem to be like, well, yeah, if it's like a 7 foot flying creature that looks like a man and that disappears and people are scared of it and has glowing red eyes, that's definitely not a bird. So it could be multiple beings. I just thought that that's an accurate description. Or what he says, or shape shifting in some way, because witnesses alternative between comparing its appearance to that of an owl or a bat. Then he also says it could just be that people see things differently. And then he concluded, just like with John Keel, that it might be even interdimensional. So I just thought if you maybe want to comment on that before we start going about how the locals describe seeing Mothman.
Yeah, sure. When it comes to stuff like that, I'm usually more comfortable saying what I think something isn't than what I think it is. Because again, we don't have the kind of evidence I think that that would support making real firm declarations. But I agree that based on the eyewitness testimony and the descriptions of this creature, that it seems very unlikely that it is any sort of undiscovered mundane biological species, right? When you look at the height described and the wingspan and the wingspan and the size and build of this thing, so people are generally describing something somewhere between 6 and 7, maybe at the most 8 feet tall, but I think 6 or 7 feet is pretty standard, with a wingspan of maybe 15 feet. And it's not so compact in its body that you would expect it to be able to get off the ground. It really shouldn't be able to fly with those dimensions. I mean, people describe it like I'm 6'2", right? So people describe it as basically being me with a 15-foot wingspan. Well, there's no way that should be able to fly like that. It would be way too heavy. Even if it had hollow bones, it'd be way too heavy. Um, you'd need like a 30-foot wingspan, right? And that would just look ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, fundamentally, if you are taking people at their word and you're willing to allow for the possibility of the aspects of this being existing as described, then there's no way at all that it could be any sort of mundane biological species, according to our understanding of biology, right? And so there really almost just has to be something paranormal about how this thing operates. Because again, it just shouldn't be able to fly. And then you add in things like glowing red eyes, and so of course, we always ask, if it could be eye shine, and most people will say no. I've seen a deer at night or a possum or something. I know what eye shine looks like. Um, and so if you start to think about something with like self-illuminating eyes, well, that's not how eyeballs work, right? Like if you had eyes that were glowing, you'd just be blind. You wouldn't be able to see anything. Um, and so that's another weird thing that you have to consider. Another one of these biological impossibilities that people are describing about these creatures. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know that I have any answers in terms of what all of that means, other than to say again that I don't think that it could be anything so easily explained with our current understanding of biology. Whether or not that means that it is some sort of extra dimensional creature occasionally making incursions into our own a reality or dimension, if it's from a parallel universe, if it is a spiritual being that is invisible much of the time, if it is a shape-shifting being, I honestly couldn't tell you. And frankly, nobody else could tell you either, because nobody really knows, right? But I think those are all interesting avenues of exploration and certainly worth speculating about. Sure.